What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chatbox. My name is Ryan, and we are back to regular content as well. And I'm joined with my co-host Karan, who's also back. And we also this week have a very special guest, in Ayon, who is, I would say, a professional football coach slash analyst. He's also done a bit of scouting as well and refereeing in the game. And the key difference in this pod is he doesn't play FPL, and we got two of us who do play FPL. So it's going to be a very interesting take in terms of trying to get the views in terms of how you watch football compared to the two of us, where we watch football sometimes with the FPL tinted lens on as well. So we tend to ignore certain shifts that maybe you could spot out. So we're going to talk about all of that in this podcast as well. So hopefully, if everyone's watching, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe as well. We've reached 2,000 subscribers. Next target is about 2.5. So let's see how we go. Karan, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. International break is getting to me, yeah, it's good to see you again. It's been ages.
Indeed. And Aaron, can you just give us a tiny introduction of...
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, absolute pleasure to be on the podcast. Happy to always chat. It's going to be interesting how my views differ to yours and how I value defensive midfielders, and defensive midfielders are trash in FPL. But yeah, basically, for over the last 8 years or so, football's just kind of been my life, and I've just tried to make it as fruitful as possible. So I've coached, I've played, I've analyzed, I've scouted, but most importantly, I've been a fan, and that's what this is all about, really. Like, I love having discussions with different people about how they see the game, and hopefully I can learn a thing or two about how they see it, and maybe teach them a thing or two about how they see the game as well. So really excited about this.
Nice. All right. So we got a lot to discuss. So let's get straight into our first slide. And basically, it's a football tactics chat. So we got Liverpool in terms of conversations with them, in terms of Isaac, got City and their tactical shifts. Arsenal, a small conversation in terms of obviously the new signings, Eze, Gyökeres. United tactics, whether we've changed with the new front line. And then Newcastle with their two new signings from Visa and Walter as well, and whether his presence on the Bundesliga can it translate to the Premier League. There's a question about that. Forest, obviously, good day, mate, is going to be, and Big Ange is in the building for Forest with Nuno gone. Obviously, we were speaking on the chat in terms of Olaena being a good option because fullbacks under Ange looked to be pretty good, but then he's gone and got injured with Nigeria, so we don't know about that in terms of recovery. And then obviously Spurs with Thomas Frank as well. What has changed from them, we'll discuss as well. So, Karan, where do you want to start?
So Ayon's absolutely rabid Liverpool fan, so let's start with Liverpool.
All right.
Rabid's a good word. Yeah, I do like that.
All right, so we got Liverpool.
So I've just put here what I think is like the surface level depth, but obviously there's a lot more players. How do you think that looks, Ayon? Like, well, how do you see Isaac fitting in?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, a lot of questions about that. We've spent so much money, and we've spent, on players strengthening from a position of strength, which I've never seen Liverpool do in the last 15 years or so, which is just obviously so nice to see. But it's a nice problem for Slot to have. Obviously, Isaac's going to be our starting striker. We can't spend 125 million or whatever it is on a guy and just sit him on the bench. But I mean, like, it's a really nice problem to have when you look at Ekitike and how he started. And I've been really, really impressed. Not just with his finishing ability, and he looks so super composed. You look at the finish in the Community Shield, he banged into the corner. The finish against Arsenal, not against Arsenal, against who did he score against in the second game of the season?
Newcastle.
I'm like Newcastle. Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, again hitting the corner. So that was really fantastic. So yeah, like I said, like he's not going to dislodge Isaac once he's up to speed. I just imagine that he will be our starting striker. I imagine his debut will actually come off the bench though, because he did like a preseason, or at least a proper preseason, right? So because he was training by himself, associate or whatever. So that'd be really interesting. So I think at first, yeah,
he's got a banger for Sweden. Did you see that?
No, I actually didn't. Didn't manage to get my. Okay, well that's great to see. At least he's
got
somewhat
a few
match
minutes.
fit, yeah, he's got a few minutes. Okay, sure, right. Yeah, that's cool. So he also came off the bench for Sweden, right? So it's yeah. You can kind of see that, we're kind of going to ease into it. Who knows if that's going to be the case with Slot? I imagine it will. He really does seem to favor fitness more than anything else. Anybody that's nursing an injury that's coming back, he's never played them more than he kind of needed to, even if it's like a kind of crunch game or whatever it is. Like, McAllister being out for a little bit of time, only playing 60 minutes, whatever it is. So it's fine. Funnily enough, yeah, exactly. I love how you've listed Szoboszlai as the right back here, because honestly, I actually think he is like undroppable at the moment. Like,
I think so.
He had two incredibly high level moments that have won us games. Like, aside from that free kick, was just fantastic against Arsenal. Like the dummy for the goal against Newcastle, like that's as good as an assist. Like that's what really has won us that game. So really, really fantastic from him. Absolute workhorse. I mean, you put him in any position. I mean, he wears the number 8, and people comparing him to Gerrard. He's obviously not Gerrard, but like similar to in that kind of mold where you can literally just drop him in any position. And I'm sure he will do a job. So Frimpong's got it on. The onus is on him now to kind of get back in the team, because Szoboszlai really does offer you so many things, from an attacking perspective, and his ball striking is just so fantastic.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the first game against Newcastle, when he did play right back, he did misplace a few passes, but to be fair, like so much expectation. That atmosphere was so like cauldron-like. I've never kind of seen like an away ground that kind of like isn't Anfield, which kind of like sounds like that. So I was just like, wow, like this is really kind of crazy. So. So yeah, a lot of options. Vert's, an absolute lock to continue starting at 10. But obviously the front three, I think, is where most people are kind of like interested in the players that they want to kind of keep. Salah for me and this is something that you mentioned in our discussions, Karan, is the usage that Salah is going to kind of go down to this season. So last season, like obviously he was the guy, right? Like when we're getting forward, like, just give him the ball and he will do something. And to be fair, he fucking did it, didn't he? Like, I think it was like 11 games last year where he got a goal and an assist, which is just like outstanding.
Yeah,
like,
ridiculous.
That's just like kind of like, unreplicable, right? So yeah, so obviously he's a lock to start. And yeah, Gakpo and Ekitike to kind of like maintain their positions, I imagine, as the international break unfolds. But it'll be interesting to see how that kind of changes over the season. I really do think there's a world where it's Ekitike, Isaac, and Salah that do become our kind of front three with Verts in behind, and Gakpo as an impact player. And that's not to say that Gakpo doesn't deserve to start on the left. I just think that his impact coming off the bench as well on a defender that's had, Ekitike or whoever it is on the left side kind of pressing against them, really kind of making it really physical for them, could be really, really fruitful for us. But yeah, so many options.
Let me zoom in on that. So do you see, will it be like Ekitike, like a false 9, and is like off the left? Or?
It could be really interesting. I just see it being highly rotational, and also we can't forget as well that Wirtz almost like loves to occupy that kind of like left half space as well. So you can kind of see a lot of rotation happening between that triangle of players. If it's Ekitike on the left hand side, if it's Gakpo on the left hand side, because you got to remember as well, like if Salah's got the ball on the right hand side, the winger on the left hand side essentially becomes a striker, right? And Gakpo scored so many goals last season by just crashing that back post time and time again. And although it hasn't really come off this season quite a lot, you see Wirtz a lot, like really pushing as soon as Salah has that ball to make that last run. It hasn't kind of come off yet, but I can see it kind of happening in a short period of time as well. So quite frightening, to be honest, like how it kind of works together. But I'm also a little bit afraid of it's too many cooks in the kitchen kind of situation. But yeah, we'll kind of have to see how Slot kind of makes that work. But full trust in Slot, I should say. His halftime adjustments have been fantastic through his entire Liverpool tenure. So can't really fault him for that. And now he's got, kind of almost infinite tools at his disposal. It's pretty scary.
Do you think that midfield 3 would change in bigger games? Because one of the things that from watching Liverpool this season, one thing that I've noticed is on the transition, they are gettable. So any team that's good at the transition can cause troubles to this Liverpool defense. Because last season, obviously, you had like that strong midfield 3 that would also protect the defense as well. Now, obviously, you've gone a bit more attacking with Wirtz as well in there, which has kind of left a bit more space for like on the transition for counter-attacking like wingers to get at you. So do we see that maybe in bigger games? Obviously, against Arsenal, we didn't really see too much because Arsenal didn't offer too much as well in terms of threat, but maybe teams that are probably better in terms of transition could do something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question as well. And that's not to say that Wirtz doesn't have that pressing ability. He's an absolutely fantastic presser. I think just physically, he might just not just be there yet. But, as like, to be fair, like perhaps there's that option as chucking Szoboszlai on that right back position. perhaps he does go for Szoboszlai in that right back position as well for that exact reason, so that he might not be super advanced, but his transition defense is one of his greatest kind of like weapons. And I always kind of use this comparison. Like Szoboszlai to Liverpool was in large parts last season what Martinelli was to Arsenal, except that Martinelli is scrutinized so much more because they need goals from him, right? But we didn't necessarily need goals from Szoboszlai. We had so many other options. So yeah, that's it'd be really interesting to how that works. I think Gravenberch does solve a lot of those problems as well, though, to be fair. And when he's fully fit or whatever, because he was suspended for the first game of the season and get done quite a bit by Bournemouth, as that Semenyo goal will tell, even the first goal, to be fair. Gravenberch kind of like is very, very good at intercepting. I think he did lead the league in interceptions last season, at least he did it for a large part of the season as well. So, but yeah, definitely those four can kind of handle it in front of Van Dijk and Konate. If Konate doesn't have an absolute howling game as he did at Newcastle, which was just kind of very scary from my standpoint, because to be fair, every player on this team has a super, super high ceiling. The way that we can be got at is if they have those games where their low floor really does impact us and teams do get at us. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he kind of plays with it. But yeah, many options for slot to choose from.
I think if you guys had got Guehi, like I'd give the title already. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that I think realistically we do get him next year. On a free, and we can just pay him a little bit more money, which is great. And also Konate stalling on a new deal is probably us.
Probably off to Madrid.
Off to Madrid, and us saying we don't want to offer you this much money because we don't value that much. Now, for me as a fan, I value him super highly because I see him doing really, really good things, especially off the ball. But on ball, I don't think he's super great, to be honest. Like his ball striking is quite poor, and Guehi probably would be an upgrade. And this is a really weird thing to say, but Guehi is younger than Konate. Like what? Like how does that even work?
Yeah,
like,
it's been around for ages.
Years and years and years, right? So so we probably need to sign somebody else as well if and when Konate does leave, but that's a problem for our time, and gotta hope that he doesn't get injured. Although we have a 2021 season all over again, and then we're in crisis.
So do you see so you don't see Salah's minutes necessarily going down? You just see his utilization going down? Is that?
I think so. I think so. Well, look, as in like reliably, and me and you were talking about this at the pub the other day. Like, he's one of the most reliable players in the world, and the main reason why Saka can't be compared to Salah is because Salah plays every single fucking game, every minute, right? And we were looking at what Saka's minutes from last year. Like, he was just injured for so long. And he always picks up these like kind of like niggly injuries, which take him out for like 4 or 5 weeks. And full credit to Saka, as soon as he comes back, he hits the ground running. Like, he is amazing, right? But he's just not reliable, right? And this is something that I literally said to all of my players every time I was a coach, like, your best ability is your availability. Even if you're a 10 out of 10 player 50% of the time, that means you're a 5 out of 10 player, right? 10 out of 10 players are 10 out of 10 players 100% of the time. Messi barely ever injured. Ronaldo barely ever injured, right? If that, right? Always given the 100%. So that matters so much. So yeah, I don't see him being taken off because and solely because, like, how many games last year did Salah play awfully and then just pull out some bullshit assist or just bang one into the top corner, right? So he does give you that moment of magic, and for that exact reason, he's worth keeping on the pitch for pretty much all the time.
And he seems good at like saving himself for the moments at the end.
Yes,
like he doesn't just kill himself. Like, he presses enough, but he doesn't kill himself pressing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you always see like the kind of the left winger having to do a lot more kind of defensive work to kind of cover for that kind of space. And I imagine Isak or Ekatika and stuff like that would also have to cover for him a little bit. But yeah, like I said, like Wirtz being such a good off-ball kind of player as well, that really does help. So just, from a fantasy perspective, to bring it back to that a little bit, like, is he worth the 14.5 million that he's at? I don't know if his price, I don't imagine his price would have gone up. He's only got a goal and assist so far. But like usage kind of going down, which I would expect, obviously does dampen that, right? Like, and he's still going to be on pens and things like that, which I imagine will win quite a few. But now we have Isak too. He might take a few as well. So it's interesting to see. But the thing that really kind of like did us last season was like within a 1 week span, we lost the Carabao Cup final and we lost to PSG in the Champions League. And we just looked absolutely shattered during that week because small squad, didn't really rotate too much, kept the kind of same starting 11. Maybe Curtis Jones came in the middle, but basically everybody else was played every single minute other than that, right? So maybe we see a little bit more rotation, but I don't see that being Salah. Like Salah will play every minute of the Premier League.
That PSG game was the first game where you guys looked like the worst team
Oh my god,
throughout all phases of the match.
Freaking. I've never seen last
year.
year.
The game you won, right? You guys won or drew that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The game we won, that was a robbery. That's Alisson's greatest ever performance in a Liverpool kit, which is crazy to say considering how good he is. But he's just never been called on that often, I guess. But yeah, it was just an absolute madness. I was just my head in hands. I was like, they're just tearing through us time and time again. And that's the blueprint to kind of beat us, right? But to be fair, that PSG team, it's still now literally every single player on that team can dribble. Like it's like they can all take players on 1v1. Just really, really scary. But feeling really positive about this season. A lot of rotations, but yeah, keep selling your team if you got him, I would say.
Yeah, so I bought up like the fixture ticker thanks to FPL Sided Pete. I think he's watching this in the background. But so you basically obviously Burnley this week, which is where everyone will be looking to like potentially captain Salah as well in FPL.
Yeah.
Then you got the UCL fixture against Atletico Madrid. Then you got the Merseyside derby. And then it becomes a bit more easier in terms of the cups. You get Southampton, then Crystal Palace. And then you go to Galatasaray, followed by Chelsea, international break, game against United, Frankfurt in the Champions League. Hugo Ekitike back.
It's going to be 60 games. 60 games this season, right?
Yeah.
All comps. Yeah.
So minimum
if you go all the way there.
Okay. Oh, okay. If you go, sorry. So if you go all the way, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What are the rest times like, Ryan?
Well, you won't get too much. I don't know the exact dates in terms of but it's not going to be too much, right? At the moment, and if you get knocked out of cup, then yes, you get a bit more rest. But I think the thing with Salah is, it's only Chiesa at the moment we put on this side that can potentially play in that specific position. So that's the thing with the one thing why we like Salah as an FPL option is not too much risk in terms of who can come and challenge him on his position.
I think there's a chance Frimpong can play there as well.
Yeah, but at the moment he's injured.
And also if he can't break into the right back spot, there's a chance that he can play some right wing. Yeah.
AFCON's coming up.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So we're going to solve that problem at some point. Yeah.
And post AFCON, Salah has never been good in FPL for some reason. So
that's so true. That's actually very true. I mean, 2 years ago, I think he copped an injury at AFCON or something like that. One of the only times he's been injured. I read some stats. He's only missed 6 Premier League games for Liverpool the entire time he's been there, which is just
insane.
Incredible longevity, right? So this is a bit of a madness.
All right. Next, we will move City. Take it away.
Yeah. So this is a graph of plotting attack speed versus the intricacy of the attack. So City's always been slow and intricate. That's the point that I'm trying to make. As have every single Pep team has been slow and intricate. This year, there are some signs that they're trying to play a little bit more direct. That's how I interpret it. I've read some other commentary that also interprets it like that. This obviously suits Haaland. The Donnarumma signing kind of plays into this. Ayon, what do you think?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's one of the notes that I wrote down. Like, is that that such a key position, obviously, in every team is your goalkeeper. And Edison was so amazing. Like, I don't even think I don't recall him making a single mistake in goal with his feet. Like, exactly. It is really odd. I mean, Alisson made plenty of mistakes with his feet, right? And I'm worried that maybe that's just kind of a Liverpool fan, and I do watch that a little bit more closely. But Edison was so composed, right? So Donnarumma obviously not being so comfortable does make you believe that they're going to go longer a lot more often, right? And how does that kind of translate in terms of like, are we expecting Haaland to kind of like tussle with defenders now to win that first ball? Are Reinders, Shirky, or Silva, whoever kind of slots into that midfield, are they going to be adept at winning the second balls? I think so. They're very kind of like intelligent players. But yeah, it's almost like a shift in tactics. Perhaps maybe it's even a shift away from Pep altogether, because like I amongst you guys probably imagine that this is his last season, right? Like he
didn't re-sign the contract, right?
Well, he signed a new contract at the end of last year, was it?
Right.
So this year is his last year contractually.
Okay.
And you would imagine that he would kind of be done. This is what 9th or 10th season. Like he must be burning out right now, right? Like it's like the years of 26-year Sir Alex Ferguson, 22-year Arsene Wenger managers are over. Like you just with the amount of football that's being played, I just don't see how people can do that at this level. So yeah, 4-4 facking too, as you say.
Yeah.
Is kind of how it's going to kind of go. So like, I'll be interested to get your thoughts as well. So if they play 4-4-2, who's going to play up top with Haaland? Is it going to be Reinders up there or Savinho? Or is
I mean, I think it's Marmoush.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Picked up a knock though.
But I think, yeah, he's picked up a knock. But I think, like, if this is the shift, like, why are they doing this? I've been a bit curious about this. Like, it seems like when Pep first came, the challenge was, every team is parking the bus. How do we solve that? So then Pep just figured out ways to turn as many defenders into attackers as possible, whilst also not getting countered. So that was the sort of game he played for like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And now it sort of feels like even the worst Premier League teams, they're all pressing. Nobody just sits back all the time anymore, right? Like everyone's playing an aggressive mid block. Your midfielders get no time on the ball. So now maybe going long makes sense again.
Yeah.
So I do think it's like a wider tactical trend. Now, can you win the league doing this? I'm not sure, right? So,
well, I mean, Leicester City, lest we forget, had some of the greatest transitional players. I mean, peak Mahrez, Vardy, and N'Golo Conte, who could just grab the ball and just like drag you up the field, right? So, I mean, like, football is essentially just all about space and what's the space that's available to you, right? So if a team's pressing you, that means the space is in behind. So that means direct makes the most amount of sense. The question is, do City have the players to actually utilize or exploit the space that's been afforded to them? So, wide players wise, who do they have on the left now? They've got Doku, they've got Savinho playing on there as well.
Savinho, who else on the left? That's it, right? On the left.
So
is that it? Okay.
Savinho can play right as well, right? So then you have
okay,
Doku
sure.
made
Right. Okay. So
Foden can play both sides in theory. Normally plays right.
What happened to Foden? Did he just like drop off? Like,
I have no idea.
How has a player gone from PFA Player of the Year to not even barely featuring the year after? It's so odd.
I think it's just reoccurring injuries. I don't know.
Okay.
They have Cherki as well, I should mention. Who can play on the
okay.
left.
So that's something that you mentioned as well, Karan, is when we were chatting about this earlier. He's like, he doesn't seem like a very Pep-like signing. Do you want to kind of expand on that or make
well, my impression of him was that he was really lazy and doesn't press. And I thought that was already suicide in a Pep team. But so far it looks like he's been pretty active when the little he's played. He's probably the most purely creative player at the moment. I don't see Marmoush and Reinders, none of them are that profile. Bernardo included. So if you want like creativity on unlocking Haaland running into space, I think you do need a couple of players with exceptional vision. Yeah. So for me, unless Foden plays, he's the main candidate.
Yeah.
Marmoush is more of a second striker. I don't really see him as a creator.
Sure. No, that's valid as well. Yeah, I think like he was the half season that he played for Frankfurt last year or something like that. It was like 13 goals and 7 assists or something like that.
He was going to be the Bundesliga player this season.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so sad that he kind of got ripped away from that, which is kind of awful as well. So there's also something that I was reading in terms of like the footedness of like the creative players really affects Haaland in particular. So like when they had De Bruyne and Haaland kind of connection, you got De Bruyne running in that right half space or that he really loves. And when he's whipping those balls in, the curl is perfect for Haaland to take it first time.
Oh, because it's Haaland's left foot, right?
Because it's Haaland's left foot, right? But if you have a left-footed player like Foden, it's much harder for Haaland to control it first time because the curl is going away from him. So that's also a very interesting thing to kind of think about as well. So Cherki, I think, is right-footed. Or he could definitely pass the ball with his right foot. I don't know how effective it is. And to be fair, no one is going to be De Bruyne, right? Like even though Man City did irreparable damage to my psyche by winning the league on the last day multiple times, like he was still my favorite player of that era. Like the things that he was able to do. There was a game against Stoke where it was just like he just decided to just win the game by just with like 3 or 4 passes. I'm like, how the fuck is this even possible, man? Like you're just an alien.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, this lineup is really interesting as well. And you had some interesting thoughts as well on Lewis, how he affects this kind of setup as well, like, kind of being that inverted kind of player. And now they've got like kind of like Aitnuri as well. Does he start over Guardiola? Like, Guardiola is such a good attacking option too. Or he's just a backup option, right? So how does that kind of work?
I think we'll see Guardiola play the bulk of his minutes as a CB, which is kind of what he was signed to do, but then Pep turned him into like a wing back kind of player. But I think
when they played like 4 centre backs, right? Like with like Akanji, gotcha.
I think we'll see Aitnuri take the bulk of the minutes on the left, and Guardiola will play LCB, and then I think this will be the season that Kuzanov breaks into the RCB spot. Because he's like, they've never replaced Kyle Walker, right? And
Sure.
what does Walker have? Just raw pace. I mean, peak Walker had so much pace that he could cover a counter by himself. So Kuzanov is the like-for-like replacement for that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that's what we'll see. And then Lewis is going to go into midfield so that Rodri isn't by himself when everyone else goes forward. That's my understanding.
Yeah, look, I mean, like, I haven't watched a lot of Rodri minutes post ACL recovery. But like, how many players are really the same post ACL?
He was the best player on the pitch against Brighton until he went off.
Okay, sure.
So for 60 minutes, they kept Brighton at bay. As soon as he went off, they were shit. It's like the same story.
Story, exactly. Story of their season last year, right? So yeah, I mean, like, what are their fixtures like? Coming up.
So they've got United this week, obviously, the derby, and then they got Napoli after that, followed by Arsenal. So the immediate three are not the most easiest. Followed by then after that Huddersfield, Burnley, Monaco, and then Brentford, and then you get the international break again. So
Napoli have already scored a couple of goals, which is De Bruyne whipping it in for McTominay to header it in.
You're going to see that quite often.
Yeah.
Fantastic. When's the Ballon d'Or announced? When do we find out if Scotty McSauce won the Ballon d'Or or not?
Probably November. I don't know, but we'll see.
Oh, okay, sure. So I'd love to get your take, like, as United fans. Like, how are you feeling about going into this? I mean, like, you guys are on top of them in the table. Like, when has this happened in the last in Manchester derbies where you guys have been above them?
I mean, it's like table of 3 game weeks, right?
You'll take what you can get, all right.
But I expect this. Sorry, Ryan. I expect this to be more even than people are giving it credit for.
Yes.
Like, I think.
Yep.
I think we're actually clicking. Like the Grimsby result aside, like, we looked really good against Arsenal. Like, we looked very combative and physical on the ball, which was missing last season, all season. And yeah, especially I don't think Cunha will be back, but Mount's playing really well. Buemo looks really good.
He could be injured. We don't know. Mason Mount as well, but
really
potential. We don't know, right? He was taken off at halftime.
Yeah.
But even if that's the case, then it'll mean that Bruno Fernandes moves to that 10 spot, and then Kobe Mainoo probably plays in midfield alongside Casemiro potentially.
Which is what it should be, right? Like, are we all kind of thinking the same thing? I'm really surprised that Mainoo hasn't got more minutes. But look, obviously, I'm not the manager of Manchester United. I don't see these guys play day in and day out. So yeah.
But
I don't think I agree. I think Mainoo he does lack a bit of physicality or something. Like, you see, I don't know what the exact word is, but you do see him lose a lot of duels.
Okay.
And
the defensive nous is not there yet. He's still young, so he hasn't got that defensive nous.
I don't think it's his position. His position's in an 8 in a midfield 3. That's his position.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like a double pivot kind of position.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And you just have to cover so much space, right? Like, as that kind of being 2 versus kind of a traditional 3, I guess. But it's interesting to see how that kind of pans out. But I feel for Kobe Mainoo, such a good talent. But he's only 20. He's got time.
But I think,
like every other season, we've started the season 2 midfielders short.
Yeah.
Like, we're actually just 2 midfielders. We've been two midfielders short for 10 years. I'm not even.
But to the game, I think we'll have chances. We've created so many chances this season already, and I think there will be opportunities. It's just about converting those chances. That's been the issue so far.
I think Buemo running in behind is a problem for any team that wants to play high. Like,
absolutely,
he's very fast. Yeah.
First touch, fantastic. Just super quick. He's only 26.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah.
Looks 50. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, him and Mikael Damsgaard from last year just suffered the aesthetic tax. Like, if they had proper hairlines, people would take them much more seriously.
So that's City. Do you want to add anything on here? Scouting reports, FPF, or
we kind of touched on it, but I think the point we were making here is that they've replaced the highly creative people, the most creative player of all time, probably, with 2 quite different profiles. Turkey is very creative. But,
I'd probably put Reinders as a Gundogan replacement more than a Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. He's like a more athletic Gundogan.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a nice little croqueta that he does. Well, especially that he did in the Wolves game, which was quite nice.
He makes good runs, man. He's always running into those pockets. Like, it's good to watch.
Love that. Very Declan Rice-esque.
Well, and FPL wise, Reinders is very cheap, so he's a very popular pick this year.
Oh, there you go. How much is he?
He's 5.7, 6.
Yeah,
Oh,
something like that.
damn.
Yep.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
bumped up from 5.5. Yeah, I would have had him
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
All right.
What do you want to talk about next? We can pick.
Let me go actually to the fixtures. So Arsenal are playing Forest. Obviously, Forest. We can touch both teams immediately here. Forest with Ange as the manager now, compared to Nuno. So as someone who owns Forest defenders, I'm like, oh, big red flag in terms of Forest potential chances of keeping clean sheets. But it's not like they were going to keep any this week anyways. Like, it's just like the fixtures after they were going to be they have like after this, I think the Forest, we go back, they've got Burnley and Sunderland as well. And in terms of the European games, they got Swansea, Real Betis, and FC Midtjylland. So it's not too bad there as well in terms of fixtures. But it's just like now under Ange's high line. I mean, is he going to continue play a high line, or has he learnt from his mistakes?
Yeah,
in
what
Spurs?
do you guys know about that? Is he like a one system coach? Like he just has his way of playing and he never deviates?
Well, I mean, like we kind of saw it in the Europa League last year, like when he needs to have his team sit back and be like, let's absorb pressure. I mean, like I'm not saying that they were good at that in any way whatsoever,
They were awful.
shape or form. They were awful, but I think hopefully he's learned and being like, hey man, I could probably get some hands on myself. But I mean, like his whole thing is that I win things in my second year, right? So maybe he's just gonna fuck around this year and be like, I'm not gonna get sacked. But that being said, he's never worked with anybody as crazy as Marinakis before. So that's just going to be a bit of fireworks, I'm sure, because he's a big personality. So it'd be really interesting to see, like as we said, immovable force meets unstoppable force meets immovable object with these kind of two things. So it'd be very interesting to see how that kind of pans out. So my advice would be to stay away from Forest until we can kind of get a little bit of a gauge on how this is going to work. And I'm sure we'll touch on that in the Wildcard chat a little bit later.
And then in terms of Arsenal, obviously we have Eze who's joined. Now, when Eze was linked with Spurs and Arsenal, I was like, oh, if he goes Spurs from an FPL point of view, it's a bit more better because lack of rotation. Now, he's still a really good quality player where he's still a good option. Now, obviously at Arsenal, I think he will take over instead of Martinelli playing in that role. The question is, do we expect to see Eze playing every week, or I guess are we going to see a bit of rotation?
I think Eze is gonna get like the bulk of the minutes. I just think Arsenal, they kind of have a creativity problem. Problem's probably too strong a word, and I think Eze is too important to solving that. I think he's a more creative player than Odegaard. I think he makes more things happen. At least from just watching, that's Odegaard gives you a lot, but
last year, Odegaard was so surprising for me. Like his drop off last year, I really could not have predicted that whatsoever, and it seemed like he really lacked a lot of confidence. And not only just kind of like receiving the ball and the kind of like in between the lines and kind of just like turning and driving, which he was really, really kind of good at, but just like kind of like making the right decision, like in order to release the ball, he just kind of hung on to it a bit too long.
He's really one-footed, and I think defenders know that, and they keep showing him on the right.
And then all that does is basically just like either he has to pass sideways or pass to Saka on the other side, and obviously that's another issue for people to solve because most teams don't really have a solution for Saka, to be fair, and Liverpool included. We didn't really have a solution for him last year, right? Like it's very difficult to kind of contain him. But like just on the Eze thing as well, like I think that's really, really interesting. Definitely a much more creative player than Martinelli, but like obviously like the thing with Arsenal is like we need to add more goals to this team, right? I mean, like Kai Havertz was their top scorer last year with 15, and Saka obviously would have been if he played more minutes, but he just kind of like didn't kind of get that done. And
like I had 12 or something.
Yeah, exactly. So we look at that kind of like attacking signing. So we've got Eze. He scored 29 goals and created 24 big chances in 99 appearances for Palace, right? Over 3 seasons, right? So it's not a massive output. That's 8 goals a season. Sorry, a little bit more than 8 goals. Almost 10 goals a season and 8 big chances per season. It's not really a massive kind of output. And with Gyökeres, obviously, like the numbers are kind of crazy when we think about Portugal, what it's just like 98 goals or something and 102 appearances, something like that. But like in the league, 25% of his goals were from penalties. So it's just a really big change for him as well. And I saw a lot of highlights from from Gyökeres. I'm not going to pretend like I watched him, exclusively at Sporting or whatever it is. But it's like it seems like a lot of his goals were like transitional goals or running into space and things like that, right? So he's really, really good shoulder to shoulder, but I've yet to see evidence of him being good, like backing up into a play. And to be honest, like when Arsenal play, they're going to be facing low blocks. Like when people know of the threat that Arsenal have in progression, and they're just going to allow them to progress the ball and set up that kind of low block. So how do you kind of cater to Gyökeres' strength, even though his strengths don't suit your system? Like it's a really kind of like tough puzzle to solve. And as far as headed goals goes, I have not seen him score a single headed goal. Yeah, which is so kind of odd. So it'd be really interesting to see how Arteta kind of solves the problem as well.
So
to be honest, I think Mikel Arteta might be what Gareth Southgate was to England, to Arsenal, right? So it's like he's the guy that kind of like took them to the level where they can win, and they're going to get in somebody else to kind of take him over the top. And ironically, I think Thomas Tuchel might be the solution to both of those problems. Like if England don't win the World Cup next year, I could see Arsenal making a very big go for Thomas Tuchel because his contract ends at the end of the World Cup next year. So he could be the guy. Yeah, I really think that could be the kind of like best option for them. Because like, Arteta has to win something this year. Like as much as Arsenal fans might be like, oh, if we push Liverpool for the league or if we get later stage of the Champions final, if they don't hold a bit of silverware at the end of this season, it's basically saying that this guy's going to be the kneeling man. This guy's not the guy for us that's going to get us over the line. And they've been waiting for so long to win like a big trophy. Never won a European trophy. Haven't won the Premier League in 20 years or whatever it is. Like they've got the biggest set of blue balls of the current Premier League, right? Like that needs to be satisfied somehow. So, and I think Thomas Tuchel could be that guy.
That's interesting. I kind of thought maybe Tuchel was just done with club management.
You never know. But, I mean, Jose Mourinho could become England manager after that. He's available.
That'd be fucking.
That would be incredible. Yeah. Oh my god.
Honestly, I think no. I think Jose Mourinho is perfect fit for going into England management and becoming England coach. He'll definitely win something with England if he ends up as, because his play style is he'll be a bit less stressful, and tournament. His managerial style is now suited for more tournament football than the day club.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
So,
sure.
Ayon, what you were saying about Gyökeres, I actually have watched a lot of Sporting with Gyökeres because when we signed Amorim, I went back and watched a lot of Sporting.
Okay. Right.
And my understanding is that he is a highly transitional player. He loves to run in behind and wide, especially, and then provide cutbacks or receive cutbacks. So I think you need players behind him that take people on and draw defenders out of position and create overloads and tensions and whatever. And I think in that sense, Eze is very clearly there to enable Gyökeres. So I'm bullish on Gyökeres because of Eze signing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that's a good point.
And this could be a good game with Ange's highlight.
But there's no way he just comes in and like makes this team play.
That's it, boys. We're not defending at the top of the box now. We're defending on the halfway line. You guys are gonna have to sort it out.
Move 30 meters forward, please.
I mean, Milinkovic's whole thing is just like winning headers off crosses, right? So like, why would you take that away from him?
It's cool. So yeah, we'll see how you go. Obviously, Saka is injured, so Madueke can also probably still play that role. But yeah. All right, so that's Arsenal and Forest. We'll move to Spurs under Thomas Frank. Obviously, look better now. They've signed Javi Simmons as well, who should fix that Maddison injury replacement to play in that number 10 / potentially even on the left. Depends on how they play in terms of rotation with Europe and all. They've got obviously what's his name?
Olomouani?
Yes, Colomwani, who can also play that left wing / maybe rotate with Richarlison up top if needed, because Solanke is also injured at the moment. And we don't know. I think Solanke's, the one I read was like 2 months or something. So we'll have to see how long that is. But yeah, what do we think?
First of all, where do you think Javi Simons plays? I think that's quite relevant for FPL.
I think 10 potentially, but yeah.
I think 10 too, but I think he's going to face the same problem that Wirtz is having, where the league is way more physical than he's used to. Especially playing between the lines as a 10. Like on the wing, you can sort of get away with it, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so as you play between the lines, basically you've got two lines collapsing on you, right? So you've got to
Yeah.
be super tight. There's not as much time in the Premier League as Vets has found out. But I mean, like, I had to look at this because, spoiler alert, he was probably one of my suggestions for people to kind of pick up. But at 7 million, I think that he might be a good option, just purely because, like, the reason why Vets might not be a good option in comparison to him, sure, they're coming from the same league, he might not be as creative or whatever it is, right? His usage rate will be crazy high because, like, who else
Everything will go through.
Everything will go through him. So, like, assists, big chance creations, I think should be there for him.
Yeah.
I think his ball striking is I think his ball striking is quite good. And he's so nimble as well. So it'd be interesting to see how he adapts, obviously, to the physicality of the league too. But could be a snip at 7 mil.
Yeah, and Thomas Frank likes playing with a free 10. Like towards the end of his time at Brentford, he had Damsgaard just running around, running the show. So I think this is a natural fit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like Madison would have been the guy. I'm a huge Madison fan. Madison would have been that guy, but just can't stay fit. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a shame, actually. Well, he's got an ACL, hasn't he? So he's out for the whole season.
Something bad, yeah.
Oh my god, it's going to take him out of the England squad too. I feel for that guy. I
love
his
glass. Made of glass.
Yeah, made of glass. Yeah, and they've also got Kudus too, right? So they've got quite a few options up top. They've signed pretty much a whole new front line, which is pretty exciting. Be a manager for them. But we'll see
is Kolo Muani more of a left winger or a striker? I don't know much about him.
Can play
at PSG, he played through the center, I think. But
but he can play both, I would say. I think for France, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's also done left wing. But I had to check transfer market to see where exactly he's played.
But you're not going to dislodge Mbappe from that left wing position, right? Because that's where he ideally wants to play from.
Yeah, that's right.
I think he probably is shunted towards the center. We'll be really interested to see how kind of like Spurs kind of makes it together. There's just been so much change, to be honest. Like, can you guys think of a new signing this season that has actually hit the ground running?
Ekatiga.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. But it's like he hasn't like kind of blown my socks up. I guess like obviously like I can't really ask more from him.
What more does he have to do?
Yeah. I mean he was a little bit anonymous versus Arsenal, but I actually put that down to the tactical battle that was between those two teams, and then both teams just limited the amount of space. I mean there was less than 1 XG in total for both teams across the entire 90 minutes, which is really really unheard of.
Joao Pedro.
Joao Pedro. There you go. But it's like, so but he the reason that I would kind of exclude him as much is because he came from the Premier League. So so he doesn't have to adjust to a new league. That's where I guess that the separation is between those two things. But just got to give these guys a bit of time, I think.
There's a good shout, and I think we'll go to that fixture as well. Jack Grealish, Everton versus Aston Villa. So
huge.
Obviously, Everton have made new signings. Aston Villa have made some new signings. I like the Harvey Elliott signing.
He's really good.
Yeah. The Jadon Sancho signing, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, Villa have been struggling in the last couple of games because they were doing well in preseason, scoring goals, and then they've gone into the season and they've just struggled to score.
They haven't scored a goal yet, have they?
Yeah. And Everton have just, I don't know, they've looked very attacking with the new signings. Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, all getting returns. So, thoughts on how you see both of them? Like both teams?
Well, Jack Grealish is such an interesting character. Like he's very, big fish in small pond kind of guy, right? Like he was just kind of sucked up into the City kind of system. And don't get me wrong, like, he was a part of the team that won the City treble. I'm not saying he did nothing, but his soul was almost kind of like sucked out from him under Pep. And it's like, it's just kind of sad to see, right? It's just like, you want to see this guy go to his full kind of potential. So hopefully we see that a little bit more this year. You can see that he's obviously kind of taken on, like he's consistently one of the most fouled players, I think, in the league when he gets the minutes that he deserves. And there's no one kind of contest him for that left wing slot at Everton. So how much does he cost? Like is he in most people's teams? Like he would be an interesting.
Like he's a popular pick.
Yeah.
He's cheap to mid range prices.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. He's already copped a couple of assists, and you can see him kind of just doing that time and time again now that he's given the freedom to just take people on and not, get down the line and then cut it back to kind of pin teams back and actually kind of make things happen. So
he's never been much of a goal scorer though. That's my hesitation. Like
valid. Even in Villa, the final season of Villa, like maybe 10 goals a season. Like it wasn't like he was kind of like knocking the kind of socks off. Ironically, his socks are almost off, but yes. But yeah, no, he's an interesting signing too. It would be interesting to see how he functions with Beto, who I think is a really kind of like underrated player, right? Like he seems to, all of my fantasy playing friends seem to tell me about Beto doing good things, and I'm like, really? Like I haven't seen this guy kind of pull up trees, but he does seem to be getting you guys some points.
Sorry guys, Ryan, I think time limits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me create a new. So you guys exit on this. I'll create a new one and I'll send it to you guys before we get
Yeah,
kicked
cool.
out.
We'll jump back.
All right. Let me just create a quick new code for these guys. All right. Hold on, guys. This is what happens when you're bit. All right, we're back. Everything's good.
Yeah, so you mentioned Beto, right? He's a giant. There's so many giant strikers in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
He's a giant, and the Tiano Barry, the guy they signed as his competition, is also a giant. It was like 6'6".
Yeah, I mean, look at all the striker signings that all the teams have kind of made. They're all kind of really big guys now. Baltimore, Newcastle, Ekitike.
Sesko,
yeah, Sesko, massive. Gyökeres, massive. The Newcastle have kind of got that big man, small man thing going now. With Baltimore at 6'6" and Vissa at 5'9". Vissa is rapid, by the way. So that kind of like big man flick onto the small man could definitely be on a Newcastle. So that'd be really interesting.
Okay, what do you think of Harvey Elliott as a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, I just obviously like, opportunity really, really stifled because, one of the biggest clubs in the world, you've got to kind of offer something elite to kind of break into that team full time. But when he came on, he was very kind of effective for us at just kind of making things happen. Just always really, really positive. One of my friends that just always described him as a nugget because he was just like so super short, really, really low center of gravity, could really just kind of like drag the ball forward and things like that. But I think he's very one-footed as well. Like he's very kind of left foot dominant.
What's his best position in your view?
So at Villa, I imagine he'll play. So Villa play a midfield 3, right? So under things. So I think he'll play
4-2-3-1. Yeah.
4-2-3-1. Yeah. So right side at 8, I think. So if he plays at 10 or next to the holder in the double pivot. But yeah, exactly. So progression wise, yeah, he's quite tidy on the ball, can turn pretty quickly. So I can see him doing a bit of a job there. But yeah, I think he'll be a great signing for them. Like, and there's an obligation to buy for them for 35 mil if he makes 10 appearances, but we put a buyback clause in for him as well. So which means clearly the Liverpool, PhDs and nerds see value in him long term. So yeah, I think.
Maybe it's a Salah replacement if you guys can't recruit effectively to replace.
To be fair, like it's just going to be impossible to replace Salah. So I think that's a lot of what we've kind of done this year. In like this transfer window spending is not just us doubling down on winning the league; it's us preparing for when Salah does leave. And to be fair, I'm fairly sure we will sell him to Saudi at the end of this year. Just because I just to protect his value and things like that as well. Like because they will pay us like 200 million for him. Well, basically, because he's like they're trying to be the best Arab league in the world, and to have the best Arab player in the world in their league, like they'll have teams like fighting over each other. I know like the big 4 teams are owned by the same fucking company in PIF, so they're gonna jump all over him or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm
so the investment fund, right?
Yeah, public investment fund. So so yeah, it'll be interesting. It's like, do we shift away from being super right side dominant to being left side dominant now, with like Isak and Ekitike kind of playing off that side, and Vets obviously playing on that side too. So who's going to be the guy that kind of like takes over? So maybe Elliott is that guy in the long run. But who knows? Yeah, exactly. FSG playing that, put their.
So he's quite cheap in FPL. Harvey Elliott. He's only 5.4.
Yeah.
Is he like a big goals and assists output kind of guy, or more like build up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, exactly. So in the small amount of minutes that he was given, especially in the Premier League, when he came on, he always seemed to make things happen. I remember he scored a last minute equalizer against Crystal Palace. Maybe it was last year or the year before. That was actually the year before. But yeah, seems like a very kind of like clutch player. Very, very good ball strike on him. And given the kind of sample size, I can see him doing a bit of damage. So at for 5.4 for a potential number 10 in a team that should be placing 6th to 8th in the league, it seems like a good option, right?
To play wing, most likely. Like Chat is saying he'll play like as a winger, right side winger for Aston Villa.
Okay, right.
I think Rodgers will probably stay number 10.
Yeah. And then you have Sancho on that left wing, most likely.
Sure.
No, they got a new guy, right? Evan Gesson.
Yes, they have that.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. But it's more like it's like I guess they want depth as well. They don't really have too much depth as well to add to that.
Well, what kind of Sancho are they going to get? Do they get Dortmund Sancho? Do they get Man United Sancho? Do they get Chelsea Sancho? There's multitudes of this guy.
Yeah, so we will have to wait and see on that. Cool. Moving on. Any other kind of fixtures? Because I think we kind of already know
I'm really interested to watch the Newcastle game. Just how this guy is a really interesting player. I've never really watched him, but I've watched a couple of highlights. Since they signed him and looked at his stats and everything, he's very, very tidy with the feet. To the extent where he's played number 10 a lot. Yeah, which is like it's kind of I just want to see a 6'6" guy playing number 10. Like I just think that.
Well, in the Germany game, their first goal was created by him.
Really?
So he dropped deep to pick up the ball, swiveled on it, and played a really, really nice through ball for Serge Gnabry to kind of get onto. So really interesting how that kind of like pans out. Like, are they going to go long for him to bring it down and then him to swivel and create or whatever it is? But yeah. Love the whole the classic trope of he's got great feet for a big man.
Yeah, Peter Crouch,
Peter Crouch, exactly.
So how do they play him and Visser together? Like maybe Visser off the left or something?
Yes, bring back the 4-4-2. Who knows?
Yeah.
Big man, small man up top.
We'll have to see. That's obviously we'll get a taste of it against Bulls, but I wouldn't suggest anyone going and buying immediately if they're looking for FPL teams.
I don't know about him specifically, but it does feel like the Newcastle team is going under the radar a little bit for FPL.
But that's
quite solid.
They've looked good defensively and all. It's just that they've struggled to score goals, which kind of people have. But now that the transfer window is closed and kind of things are settled in terms of how the teams are looking, I think people can go there. I'm just trying to get the fixtures for Newcastle. So they obviously have Wolves. The problem is midweek they got Barcelona, and then and then they've got.
At home? Is it at home as well?
Good question. That I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so because it's in caps.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So then after that they got Bournemouth. They got a cup game after that, followed by Arsenal.
I think Bournemouth away is harder game than Barcelona at home. I mean, I'm kind of joking, but not really.
So incredible. Well, just a massive shout out to Iraola for what he's done with that team, right? Like, and you think about all the players that they sold. Like they sold their entire backline to Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid and Kepa went to Arsenal, right? So like it's pretty crazy about what he was able to do with that.
You know, Højlund has been Madrid's best player in like every game.
Yeah,
in pretty much every single game, he's got like the highest like sofa score rating by far.
Oh wow, there you go.
He's a ridiculous player. Yeah.
Sure, I mean he was at Juventus before he was at Roma, right? And then he went to Bournemouth, so definitely got some talent. And he's only 19 now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Many years ahead.
Yep, indeed. So yeah, I mean Newcastle can wait. Don't have to jump on them right now. Fixtures aren't that necessarily that great as well in the short term, so can kind of wait and see how they go. That's kind of the fixtures. I mean, I don't really want to spend too much other time on others because we kind of know what we're getting from some of the other teams for the moment.
Do you want to just quickly? Can we try to predict Liverpool lineups? Do you think it'll be different with European games pending?
I think we'll wait till Isak gets proper match fitness before. Because I think for the moment, I still expect Hugo Ekitike and Gakpo to be in the front three.
No, absolutely.
So then the same lineup, right?
Yeah.
No
Exactly. I don't imagine there'll be a change. Yeah, honestly, I expect Szoboszlai to start at right back if anybody's got him in your team, which maybe you do. But yeah, other than that, the lineup that we had against Arsenal, I imagine that's the team that will start against Burnley. Yeah.
All right. Let's go into Karan's wildcard. Let's do this. Karan, take it away.
I thought I added a screen cap of my previous team.
No, maybe not. Do you want to add it?
I don't know. I can see it on my version of the slides.
Oh, did you?
That's okay. It's fine. The important takeaway is that my team's shit,
Okay.
and it got 35 points last week. And the global average is like 15. So I wildcarded early because I kind of want to course correct. I don't like my team structure. I think a lot of arguments for waiting and getting like 5 or 6 weeks worth of expected goal data to try and make some decisions off. But I've been watching all the games, so I'm just going off the eye test, if you will, and just trying to change my team to a different structure. I want to have Haaland. I would rather have Haaland than Salah, but I will probably try to fit both in.
Yeah.
But I went with Salah and no Haaland from the start, but I wish I'd gone the other way. I have triple Forest defense, which is terrible. And yeah, there's the big pieces in my team I like, but I wanted to switch out all the small pieces. So that's why I wildcarded. So if you go to the next slide, this is
Do you? Okay.
Actually, do you want to ask me questions?
Yeah. So are you worried with the wildcard that we still haven't learned enough?
I think last year I made the mistake of I wanted to wildcard in game week 3, and I was like, no, I need to be patient. And I waited till like 7 or 8, and then when we had enough data, but I just wish I'd attacked it a bit more on 3. So I'm trying to correct that tendency a little bit this year. So yes, we know less, but that can also be an edge if you pick correctly.
Yeah, because there are people obviously with same problems where the start has not been great, and there's kind of like I don't like my team, kind of want to get rid of it. So I've also been in a very similar situation when I'll show you my team later, but like I'm willing to wait a bit more because there are only a few mistakes, and I'm willing to take a hit to kind of fix it. More than that, but like let's talk about yours and we'll see.
I think. Look, I've already activated wildcard now.
So you can't do anything now.
I can't do anything now, but I do. I wish I gave a little bit more consideration to taking like a -8. I don't think that was as bad as I thought. But at the start of the international break, I was like, fuck it. I want to get the price rises.
Okay.
I hit wildcard. But
nice.
yeah, I do think a -8 could have been okay as well. Yeah.
Okay. Talk us through the first one. So I'll read the players for everyone listening on the audio. I'll read the team that you have. This is a Salah plus Haaland draft. So you got Vicario in goal, Tosin, Richards, Anderson in your backline alongside Senesi and Matty Cash as well. So you got Salah, Semenyo, Xavi Simons, Josh King, and Reinders as your midfield 5. And then up front, you've got Joe Pedro, Haaland, and Mateta. And you also have Dubravka as your second choice goalkeeper.
Yeah, so I think the main, obviously, if you have Salah and Haaland, you have to have a lot of cheap players. We have Josh King as a 4.5 starter, which I think a lot of people are very high on him. I'm also very high on him. He's looked great against Chelsea. But they signed Kevin, who I think is a left winger. That's relevant because Iwobi, who plays on the left, could get shifted to 10 and displace this guy. And they signed somebody else on the right. Oh yeah, they signed the winger from AC Milan, Chukwueze.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they signed Chukwueze.
Is he former Chelsea?
I'm not sure.
To be honest,
Maybe.
everybody's probably former Chelsea at this point.
Yeah,
They sign players, so yeah.
So they signed him, and he was starting for Milan majority of games for the last couple of seasons. So I expect him to come in on the right. So I do think Josh King has a bit of competition, but it enables Salah Haaland, right? Which is why I like it. Semenyo is like a lock for me in this team. After Haaland, he's the number 1 lock. So having this structure, Salah is basically for the next 2 fixtures. He's the best captaincy option, probably in both. But then after that, I will probably use 2 transfers to go Salah out and upgrade one of the cheap guys to, I don't know, maybe a Bruno or a Marmoush or something to attack.
I guess what I wanted to ask for this one is because now obviously when I went and asked Pete for his fixture ticker, the reason I asked until game week 13 was there's going to be a wildcard window in like the next international break, so between 7 and 8 or even like after 6, and then there'll be one after 13 as well. because the fixture swings. So you always want to target fixture swings. So now Arsenal are a team that will have a fixture swing. So I'm wondering whether because you don't have any Arsenal in here, is that something that you kind of considered? Because we've spoken about a few players already, Eze, Gyökeres. Even Arsenal's defense is still pretty solid. They've started pretty well as well defensively.
So I can fit Gyökeres in instead of Joe Pedro if I then downgrade Xavi Simons. So I have got a variation of this where I played around with that. I just like I don't want to have like 3 cheap midfielders. Like I'm kind of better. Just feels better to run with 2. Because I mean, if I go like Xavi Simons down to like a Harvey Elliott, right? Like he's not like it's a bit early for him. Like he'll probably get into the team and start doing full 90s like a few game weeks in.
Yeah.
So I considered someone like a John Arias from Wolves. He pretty nailed. He's like peak age, was like top assist provider in like the Brazilian league before they signed him. So and my strategy is I'm going to send my bench boost in the next week or the week after. So get that out of the way. That's a bit of a planning headache gone. And then use my free hit to navigate some of the more tricky like things between 8 to 13. So yeah, I basically wildcarding into a team that allows me to roll transfers.
Okay.
So I have another because we have I have another draft.
Yeah.
And the reason I like this draft, I'm very 50-50 between them, right? I'm not sure which one yet. The reason I like this draft is it's a lot easier to roll transfers.
Yeah.
Whereas with the other one, you're booking in 2 transfers to get rid of Salah and upgrade to someone else.
Okay, so I'll read this one. So this one is a draft with Haaland. So you still have the same goalkeepers in Vicario and Dubravka, but you've gone for a slightly different defense where you have Munoz and Gabriel in here. The Anderson, Cash, and Senesi they remain the same. It's just that you've got Munoz instead of Tosin, and you have you got Munoz instead of Richards, and you have Gabriel instead of Tosin over here because of the extra cash. You still have Xavi Simons, Semenyo, and Reinders, but you've also gone for Bruno Fernandes and Paqueta, who's obviously on pens for West Ham. And then instead of Joe Pedro, you've gone for Gyökeres, and you kept Mateta. I guess the question I have is, could you have maybe gone Joe Pedro instead of Mateta as well, potentially?
I can. Yeah, I mean, I've got 0.4 in the bank,
Yeah.
so I can. But I really like Mateta's next 2 fixtures. I know there's a question about their creativity with Eze gone and Sarr maybe injured.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of faith in Glasner as a manager. He's on pens. Yeah. I think they'll get creativity out of Munoz probably. So
I really like this draft, to be fair. To be honest, I like both of your draft, mostly because, and obviously this is a non-FPL perspective, but it's just like, especially the one before, even this one, to be fair, you have a lot of guys on your team. What I mean by guys, I mean like they are the guy for their team. Like Semenyo's the guy, Haaland's the guy, Mateta's the guy. Jury's out whether Gyökeres will be the guy as well. But when you have João Pedro, even if you had swapped Gyökeres for João Pedro in this one, João Pedro has basically proven to be the guy for Chelsea.
He's the guy. So
he is the guy, right? So, and that's why I'm a little bit down when I said a little bit earlier about Salah's usage going down. Like, obviously, he's still the guy at Liverpool, but it will prove to see if we're kind of moving away from that, especially now that we have Isaac, who's also very Premier League proven. Wirtz is gonna carry a lot of load going forward too, and whatever, and however Ekitike fits in the team or whatever, right? So there's a question about whoever that guy's going to be, but you've got like nailed on guys in this team, which I really, really like.
And even Paqueta is the guy.
Paqueta's the guy, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think Xavi Simons could be the guy.
Yeah. There's potential for him to be the guy at Spurs because they've got a lack of guy at this point in time.
I think they call it talisman theory.
Yeah,
talisman. Yes.
Yep.
Talisman. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I like saying guy. That's fine.
But yeah, I mean, just look at just spreading the Salah money around. Just look at how many positions it upgrades. It upgrades like 6 positions.
Your defense is infinitely better.
Yeah.
I think if you can get, I think if you roll transfers on this and you can, when Isak is fit and firing, and then you just get him in the team alongside Haaland maybe, which probably then sees a downgrade to either Gyökeres or even Mateta. I mean, both could potentially move out.
I think there's like a 30 to 40% chance that Gyökeres never cuts it in the league, which is a pretty high chance.
Really high.
Maybe that's too high. Maybe 20 to 30% chance.
Okay.
I do think that I do like, because if just even the United game, like De Ligt absolutely locked him up. Like he just lost every single duel, and I think the Premier League is like the league of duels, right? Like you can't be losing these random duels. So unless they keep finding him in space, which I don't know if they will. But I think Saka's out. He's on pens, so that makes him a little bit of a no-brainer, almost a no-brainer on Wildcard. So I'm happy to keep him and downgrade or upgrade to Isaac. But yeah, I do think there's a risk there.
No, for sure. As in like the Portuguese. Sorry, Ryan. Just want to get this. Just kind of like translating the Portuguese league over to the Premier League. Like, obviously Bruno was able to do it, and that's fine. But I think he's a kind of like transformational kind of player. I think for me, like the biggest comparison is Nunes, right? Who also really kind of like tore it up in the Portuguese league. Amazing transition player. But how did that translate when you're facing low blocks? And how does your skill set adapt to that? Sorry, Ryan, you got it.
Yeah, no. The thing is, like, I think with the fixtures, you could probably just go with Joao Pedro for the moment, and because he's on form as well, right? It's not like he's and go with him, and then if Gyökeres obviously does well, or like shows some promise, because Arsenal's fixtures haven't started, the good block hasn't started just yet. You can get it maybe when it turns.
I mean, I don't think, like, I know the fixtures are red,
Yeah.
but other than the Newcastle away, like Forest at home, I think it's a pretty good fixture, to be honest. Then even City at home, like the amount of times Brighton were 3v2 running at the City defense when the game state was at stake, like it wasn't even like City were 4-0 up. It was like 1-1 in the 80th minute. Like I can see Gyökeres getting space even against City. So I think the fixture ticker is a little bit misleading. So it's not as bad as it looks. But yeah, I agree with you. Also, Joao Pedro, two of his goals were from the same corner play. Like he was ghosting into that. But, so I mean, I'm not saying that's not. Yeah, I guess I am saying it's not as replicable as open play goals. And when Palmer's back, he won't be on pens for sure.
He's not on pens anyways. Yeah. Enzo is on pens. So
well, there was a chance that he was on pens.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the thing.
But now there's no chance.
But to your point there, Karan, earlier, as in like how replicable is that? How good are Chelsea at getting corners? Are they Arsenal level at getting corners, or are they somewhere down the pecking order? Right. So if they get a lot of corners, then maybe it is replicable. Who knows?
I don't know how to correctly value that, but yeah, it is something.
Yeah. Well, just I guess like check how many corners they're winning per game. As maybe this year, obviously small sample size from this year, but maybe last year might be a good indicator of that.
But it looks like him and Chalobah are the targets on corners.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so funny to me how it was just fucking Sean Dyche and like the Stoke guy using corners. And now it's just everyone,
Well, also another thing that's been really kind of prominent this year is long throws into the box. I've seen that time and time again this season. So yeah,
Brentford were doing that like since the start.
Yeah, exactly. So could be an op if he can manage to get his head. Like I remember Tim Cahill in the kind of like early like the noughties and the 10s, just being really, really good at just getting his head on things, even though he wasn't particularly tall. Even Aguero was so particularly good with his head. Like some players just got it in their genes, just know where that space is. So maybe Pedro is one of them.
Maybe, yeah. So yeah, I mean, Gyökeres down to Pedro here, Ryan would. That's the other thing. Like, I'm not sure where to spend the money. Like, because there's not like it's not like there's so many amazing midfielders that are like 6.5, 6.7. Like maybe Grealish. But there's not a ton of all the value in the mid bracket to me seems like this range or much more expensive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe I could try to get Eze. Like I kind of like Eze. I think Eze is probably a decent thing.
Yeah, true. You could try that as well potentially, but we'll have to. This is why I was asking you. Like, do we know enough yet? Is the question.
We don't, and that's a double-edged sword. Is what I am telling myself. Like I think we don't know enough, but it's not all of us against the game, right? It's us against each other.
Yeah.
So other people not knowing as much can be a benefit to me as well.
Yeah.
If I can outguess them, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm seeing it as well.
Fair enough. All right. So that's your draft. We'll see what you end up with at the
Yep.
deadline. So this is my team. So I took a hit last week because I didn't like my team. So I have Cells in goal. I started Roden because I was like, oh, Leeds, Ellen
Nice.
Road. I kind of had a feeling like Leeds are this season at Ellen Road are going to be a bit more harder to kind of beat. So that worked out. And obviously Newcastle was struggling for goals at the time. So yeah. Williams, Cucurella, Reinders, Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, and Endoy. And then up front, I have Joe Pedro and Watkins. On the bench, I had Dubravka, Mark Yu, Steve from Burnley, and Diouf. Diouf 10-pointer was so painful to watch. Because who would have thought West Ham would come and turn it up and
3-0.
Yeah.
Against Forest. That's a bit of
Yep.
a bit of a bummer. I mean, Nico Williams. Now that Andrew's in charge, that
Yeah,
seems like
he's good on the ball, actually.
yeah.
good
So
shout.
you know-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
His whole thing was fullbacks become like fucking number 8s or something, right?
So
Some-
this is where I have a problem now because I initially this week before the Ange news I was thinking of taking out Nico Williams to bring in Senesi from Bournemouth because he's done well. Bournemouth are defensively a bit more in terms of even though they've lost so many players, they've just been better defensively. And now with the new addition to defensive contributions in terms of points, he's an absolute monster on it. So that's why I was thinking of Senesi. And also, what that would have given me was a bit more cash to now that Gu's back at Chelsea. I wanted to upgrade Mark Gu to even Ekitike for a short-term punt for like 2 games, maybe 2 or 3 games before
I
Isak.
feel like that's going to generate transfer headaches.
True, that is probably going to generate
And
in the future. But if I wildcard in like 6 or 7, then
okay.
that's where I'm kind of at the moment. Or I could also go.
You go for Anderson. I think Anderson is in the short term better than Senesi.
True, but I wasn't sure exactly. Like this is where I'm not sure when I exactly want to wildcard, and Senesi in general would be a better, slightly longer term play. The other thing I was thinking was maybe even Richarlison from Spurs because I don't mind Spurs' fixtures. And with Solanke out injured, I think Richarlison, Frank has come out and said that he's currently the number 9 as well. So
yeah, but if you watch that, the way he said it was he is currently my number 9.
Yeah, so that's that's also that's the thing. That's also like a short term move. So which is why the 2 forward options are both like kind of short term. Which is why I kind of slightly prefer Hugo Ekitike because of his higher potential.
How much do you have in the bank?
I have about 4 million.
Oh shit! Oh, that's why.
That's why I can do it. But I need to downgrade Williams to Senesi to be able to kind of get to Ekitike. Because I also don't want to start Endoy this week against Arsenal.
Why don't you just upgrade Endoy with the money?
True. I should have just not bought Endoy. I bought him in last week as a punt because Forest have 2 good fixtures after, right? In terms of
maybe
yeah.
I'm trying to refresh my memory of the AND system, but I remember the wingers hold the width. The striker is like real like focal point kind of guy, and then the fullbacks.
Yeah, which is why Pedro Porro used to be like an option.
Yeah, they're like number 8/number 10s.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of
play with like
now
2 back.
50-50 on whether I'd really want to get rid of Williams or not.
Yeah, that's not gonna work, man. I'm just thinking it's just not gonna work with the CBs. They're not fast enough.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So
and like Chris Wood off the ball, he doesn't want to be anywhere near the centre backs. He just wants to hang near the halfway line, basically. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least.
So we'll see. I haven't decided.
Never a boring day with Ange in charge.
I mean, I don't mind like a Gakpo upon or something, right?
True, I could do that. Then I'll probably have to like again remove Endoy, most likely, to get Gakpo in if that was the case. But I just kind of prefer Ekitike in terms of how he's started so far, and I'm kind of willing to punt on if
you get Ekitike, you'll be wildcarding in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, most likely. Most likely.
That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Even if it's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have to think about it a bit more. Gakpo might be, but I'm like we've discussed earlier, right? Where we're thinking that Gakpo most likely ends up on the bench and then Hugo Ekitike probably plays the left. But it could also be that Ekitike comes off the bench, most likely, and Gakpo still retains
Well, I mean,
place.
there's only 3 spots.
Yeah.
There's 3 spots for 4 players, so you've got to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah. So I imagine Isak and Salah and Wirtz are all locked. So it'll be down to Gakpo and Ekitike who plays that left side. So unless we change formation.
Yeah, true. I also probably should see if I don't wildcard a way to get Haaland in, and then think about that maybe as well potentially. So in terms of managing funds. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have a think about it, play around a bit more. But yeah.
I mean, that's the other reason I don't like you transferring in a forward.
Yes, because if I want
Haaland, then you can just downgrade Salah or something and upgrade Mark to Haaland.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So
yeah,
I'll have
whereas if you do Ekitike, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's kind of where I had to think. That's why I was thinking of Richarlison because he was cheap. It wasn't too bad in terms of price.
He was pretty bad in the last game.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him as well. Then he was pretty anonymous in the last game.
Fair enough.
That's just his whole career, isn't it? Like he's just moments of madness.
No, I really rate him actually. I
really
love the guy. Yeah.
I loved him at Watford. I thought he was so exciting when he was at Watford. Like
he's so combative. He's so like he can occupy the whole back line by himself, which I think is a great skill.
Anyways, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's kind of where I was. So yeah, that's basically it. Hope we managed to keep it under an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Chat has been very active. They've been talking within themselves as well, so been very active. Shout out to Ayon for coming on today. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well, and hopefully people watching got some benefit out of it as well. And then Karan as well. Thank you very much. Any final words before we end?
No, man. That was great. Thanks for coming on.
No, I really appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can come back on a little bit later in the season when I'm not guessing as much as
maybe we can convince you to play FPL again.
Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. If I get to come on the podcast, it might actually be worth it, to be honest.
Fair enough, indeed. So we'll probably definitely have you on in future episodes as well. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be live for probably do a team selection stream probably tomorrow or Friday. And then deadline stream obviously on the Saturday. So that's the content for the week. Shout out obviously to Karan and Ayon as well. And we'll see you all later. Peace out, everyone.
See you guys.
Ciao.